We're just questioning the intention of the Prevention of Terrorism Act and how the DCI and the ODPP are using it now to arraign activists in court. Yesterday, the intention is very clear. Although the ODPP dropped the terrorism charges against Boniface Mwangi, the fact that he was arraigned at Kahawa Law Courts says a lot. This is a court dedicated purely to counter-terrorism cases and related high-risk cases. So that was the intention initially. But what was the intention of the Prevention of Terrorism Act? The definition of a terrorism act, yes, includes issues like use of violence against a person, endangering the life of a person other than the person committing the action, creating a serious risk to the health or safety of the public or a section of the public, results in serious damage to property. Some of these things, we've actually witnessed them in the recent demonstration. But was this the intention of the Prevention of Terrorism Act?
Thank you very much and good morning to our viewers. And as you rightly put it, the issue of this, the Anti-Terrorism Act, which was initiated in year 2012, I think amended 2014, 2023, we saw further amendment. You have clearly put it, what its interpretation is about, issues about violence, and the issues of interference with the essential services. We have seen these things happening. But I always say the law is who interprets it and how they look at it and which angle you're looking at it. And we've seen, for instance, the case of Boniface Mwangi, this charge has been dropped depending on how the law was interpreted. You see, they also, on this Anti-Terrorism Act, they also look at financing, the activities that we have talked about. They have also looked at recruitment, training. I think the issue of terrorism, we took it as an issue of an outsider. And I think we also limited it previously to Al-Shabaab and certain groups, militia, illegal groups and such. But as we have seen this law, in interpretation, even the people who interfere with essential services is also an act of terrorism. So we need to ask ourselves, as we interpret this law, do we need further amendment, or do we need clarity, or do we need further interpretation? Because it's clear in the law. So these officers, if they charge individuals on this act, the first question is, did anybody interfere with essential services? Was that part of it? Was there violence? Were people's life endangered? It's in the interpretation, and I think we allow. I can go and accuse my colleague here on a certain issue, and that's why there are courts, and that's why courts exist. And I think we have now clearly seen, initially there was a lot of suspicion within our judiciary. We have now seen the judiciary making their own independent mind and making their decisions, which is the right thing, where judiciaries now seem to be very independent in their decision making. I would say it's a very good step ahead. So I can be accused, I can be taken to court, but why do courts exist?
And I'm asking you this as a legislator, because you're part of those who make these laws.
Yes.
Was this the intention of this law, that while the Constitution provides for the right to picket and to demonstrate and peaceably and unarmed, and the right to associate, activism is not a crime. But when we see the Anti-Terrorism Act being used to arraign activists in court, was this the intention?
Activism is not part of the Anti-Terrorism Act, actually. It is not part of it. But interference with essential services or bringing violence is part of the Anti-Terrorism Act. And that's why I've said, let us allow different departments in this government to work. Whether it's the judiciary, whether it's OPP, whether it's Parliament. Parliament, our law is to, our main role is to make the laws. Who interprets these laws? It is a judiciary.
But my understanding is that as legislators, as you make laws, there's an intention.
There's an intention, and of course, that's what I've said. If you look at the law and see the intended purpose is being misused, then it doesn't stop any one of us to go to Parliament.
Because that's my question. Do you feel that the intended purpose of the Prevention of Terror Act is being misused at this
point? I see the law as the Bible. It depends with how everybody interprets it. Some people will take a specific part of the Bible and take advantage of it to interpret it to suit their own purpose or a certain condition or certain time. So even with the law, you can amend it 100 times, but the person interpreting, depending on how I want to read or interpret it from, you can get a lawyer interpreting this law very differently. So what I would say, let the offices entrusted by the Kenyans to interpret, or even to mediate, if I would say, because sometimes we are very selfish. I can take a specific part of the law because I want it to suit myself, but then it's on the owners of the judiciary to actually be fair and to be just
And I
to
get
all
you.
Kenyans.
But you've been part of this process of legislating. The question is the intention, the original intention. Forget about the interpretation, which may come later. If you find that the law that you legislated on, that you came up with, is being